It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to Musical Lyrical Lingo. We're your hosts, Tim
And LJ.
I paused because I should have said, rather than we're your hosts, I should have said, we're your lovebirds.
Oh, okay.
And then I went, no, because that's completely inappropriate because your husband's sitting opposite us. So I was like,
I thought you had a brain fart and you didn't know what it was you needed to say.
Lauren, you know I have brain farts on a regular, so that's no new thing. No, I was trying to be clever with the whole Valentine theme we've got going on this week, because this is Valentine's week, folks, so I hope you've got all your bits and bobs ready for the wonderful big occasion that Valentine's is every year.
Boke. Like, do people still do Valentine's?
Well, the shops would say they do.
No, but I feel like it's really not a thing anymore.
Oh, wow, you're going to crap all over this episode,
No,
aren't you?
I just mean that. Though my son did have to go to the shop and buy some sweets for his girlfriend.
He's far too young to
I
have
know,
a girlfriend.
exactly. Terrible.
Yeah, no, we're not your lovebirds. We are your hosts. Yeah, no, yeah, I had a momentary pause, but then we also did learn from season 1 that I have a speech delay.
Delay.
It is delayed from my head to my mouth. That just made me had one of those moments. I just came up with the lovebird idea once I had already started the intro,
okay,
and
that
then
makes sense.
No, we'll just stick with hosts.
Yeah, okay. And then I made it a bigger deal than what it was.
It seems to be that I make the intro sound weird every week anyway, for some reason.
I know. Here, and also I need to apologise. I forgot to turn the mic on last week.
I was wondering why it sounded like we were in a tin can. Between that and Honey the dog tap dancing her whole way through the second episode, I was like,
It did fit quite well about you wanting to do a tap routine.
Yes, well, I thought it was me until it then continued and went, oh God, no, that wasn't me then, clearly.
No. Oh God.
Have you turned the mic on this week?
It's definitely on.
I mean, you would have thought by season 2 we were maybe a bit more we were more pros with this whole podcast malarkey.
Maybe we're not. But we forgot to mention, when we'll mention it now, we obviously must be pros.
Why?
We have over 5,000 downloads on our podcast.
Stop it.
Over 5,000 for a small little podcast featuring Tim and LJ.
Yeah.
On musicals. And we were number 1 on Good Pods list.
I mean, back at the beginning, I was just happy if we got 20 listeners, to be fair. I thought that we were doing well. So, thank you very much.
I know. So, yeah, I forgot to mention that. I should actually celebrate that on our socials.
Are they still listening in Africa?
They are listening all over the world.
Stop. Fantastic. Yep. Well, hopefully you're feeling the love all over the world, because we're feeling the love this week.
Yeah, we are.
Love is in the air.
Though I
don't know the next line.
Dying with some form of cold that Timothy obviously gave me.
Lies, complete and utter lies.
One of his
There was
moments.
enough. We haven't seen each other for over a week now at this stage, folks. So there's not and you only got this.
Maybe we haven't seen each other for over a week.
We didn't see each other all last week, and we recorded the week before that. So
we did see each other last week.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, but I was okay by then. I was over it.
I know. And I had 2 days before that.
I was long over it.
No.
You had it 2 days before that?
Yeah.
Oh, well then I should be okay sitting here beside you tonight if I didn't We went to see Lauren's lovely daughter CJ performing An Absolute Dream in a production of Joseph.
And it was so good.
It was fantastic. And I then also loved the Megamix because we just let rip, didn't we? And we were like
when it was appropriate, because as we've said before in this show, if it's a Megamix or if it's an encouraged time to sing along, you can sing along and dance, and that's what we did. But it was, it was so lovely being there.
Difficult to bite my lip though throughout. Like I was ready to go into
I was mouthing.
Yeah.
I was mouthing, but I wasn't singing.
I had Aaron giving me looks every so often, like, don't bother. Don't even think about it.
Because he was singing.
Yeah. Deep down in his soul, he was totally singing.
He was singing for 3 days.
It was the reaction when the giant camel came out.
It was hilarious.
That was my highlight. I went, wow, where did they get a life-size camel?
It was brilliant.
I thought Aaron was going to near jump off a seat.
I know. I don't know if
either that or ride the camel, like get on the camel. I don't know what was coming, but he certainly was taken back by the camel.
I mean, it was impressive, but it was Aaron's face. We're going, is this real?
Yeah, that was my highlight, to be fair. Aaron's reaction to the camel.
I was not expecting to see a camel.
Who would, Aaron? Who would?
Yep, fair.
Fair dues to them getting a life-size camel, though. That won't have been easy.
No,
I wonder where they're storing it.
Do you know what is even funnier? So obviously we went to see CJ. We knew that she was one of the parts in it. And whenever we were at home and we were talking about the camel, and I said, Jen, you were great as Ishmaelite number 2. And her dad went, you were an Ishmaelite? I said, yeah. She led out the camel. What? I didn't see her. Like right in front. Like Aaron could have like literally touched the camel. Didn't even recognise his own daughter.
He nearly did. She was upstaged by a giant camel.
She was.
How rude.
I know.
You see that? I just wouldn't have accepted that.
Yeah. But that was fun. Anyway,
Yeah,
so we did see that.
And I did sit beside you, and I haven't had round 2 of that terrible cold. I'm so sorry you've got the cold, because it is stinking.
It is horrible. It is horrible, but...
And you didn't tell me you were as sick as you are.
But I'm better, so I don't feel sick anymore.
You just sound
I just
horrendous.
sound. Though I thought it was like a really ASMR sound, and like people would be tuning in just for my like real...
Dead on.
Okay.
I tried that one too.
No.
It's interesting we're also not recording, as in like visuals this week.
Yeah. But we're
low battery on our phone, guys, apparently. Lies!
No, there actually is low battery on my phone. Well, I didn't see you offering up your phone for it to be recorded on.
I'm not using up that
There we
amount
go.
of data
See?
on my phone.
I'm
not technically minded. I wouldn't know how you then take it from that
what?
Put it into your wee packages you do.
Well, we packages. Oh, you're so cute. The fact that you have no knowledge on any of that.
I've just had like a half an hour lesson in AI, which has been interesting as well. Thank you, Aaron. He has so many uses. It is incredible.
Take a bow.
Take a bow. We're very fortunate to have him.
Also, you got a performance from him earlier. Remember, he was reenacting a wee drama piece.
Yes,
so,
that's right, yeah. And he was singing last time,
And he was singing last time.
I noticed he didn't sing as he was setting up this week. I'm devastated. I wish we hadn't mentioned it.
Oh, no.
Because I think he feels a wee bit self-conscious now.
Got away with that.
If you're good at something, you don't do it for free.
Maybe if we get the camel back in, he might start
sing for the camel.
sing with the camel.
Oh.
Juliet. Anyway, on to some theatre news before we start. I did like our wee theatre news at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, I think we should keep that up.
Shock horror. I have 2 shocks.
What's your shocks?
And I've got a bit of a gripe.
Oh.
I'll keep my gripe to the end. First one is Frozen is closing.
I know. In October, is that right?
It is closing when? I mean, I
think it's the end of 2024.
Tim. Will end its magical 3-year journey at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane on the 8th of September. Yeah, having captivated over 2.8 million people since it began its run in August 2021.
I know you're devastated, but I'm excited because I feel then something big is going in there.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, like they'll have to take that out for something big to go in. Yeah. You couldn't just... But I'm just quite surprised it's coming out so soon. I thought it would have been like one of those ones that would be there for an extremely long time.
Like Lion King type thing because it's Frozen.
I really did. Like of all the Disneys, do you know what I mean? However, apparently the current West End production that we're talking about is rumoured to have been filmed last weekend.
Oh, really?
For release possibly on Disney+. Now, none of that has all been confirmed. It's all like, hush, hush, they've recorded the show. This might be happening. Although it could be some time before we see a live pro shot of it, because there was a live pro shot done of Disney's Aladdin West End production
I've never seen it.
in 2019, and it still hasn't been released. So, hey-ho, maybe Disney just record them for themselves to sit at home with their own wee boxes of popcorn to enjoy. But I was totally, shocked when I read that, because Samantha Barks has just gone back into it after having had a wee baby.
This week?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
and I
back from
thought that's
maternity
so
leave.
bizarre that she's gone back into it and it's closing. But hey ho. There's also rumoured claims that Disney are developing a live action remake. You know the way Disney are doing these live action remakes of all these classics?
Really? Because there's still Frozen 3 to come out.
That's true.
Did you hear today that Moana 2 is going to be released on this? Like, nobody knew Moana 2 was happening.
No.
It was announced today, Moana 2, but it's going to come out on the same day as Part 1 Wicked. So people are saying this is this year's Barbie Oppenheimer.
Oh, why is that? People are going to go to Wicked, surely, to goodness.
Moana was pretty awesome.
I mean, it was doable, but
I think people are still a bit sceptical about Wicked.
But all of the musical theatre fans across the world will go regardless. No musical theatre fan is not going to go and see that Wicked film for the fear that it's pants. True. We'll hear about it after if it's pants. But yeah, interesting. And I think I'm right in saying Moana is also being developed into a stage show. Have we talked about that?
No.
I think the first one is being developed into a stage show. Yeah.
Well, it's a live action is being done as well.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. I read.
Okay. Yeah.
So there you go. That was the first shock of the week. Then the second shock was one of my really good friends was in London and was forced to go to two shows. This is so stagey, right? Was forced to go to two shows that he really wasn't that interested in seeing. He'd seen them before, or there was one he hadn't seen. But the reason he had to choose those was because of the ticket prices.
Are they
why all of a sudden are these musicals
going back
having
up?
tickets with ticket prices of £200 plus quid? It's just insane. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. If there's a producer out there who can tell me why on earth the price of musicals has gone shot through the roof, will you please let me know? Because they're totally outpricing theatre goers. Well, not everybody is rich and can afford those prices to go and see the theatre. So therefore, General Joe Blogs is going to stop going.
Well, theatre is not accessible to everybody as it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's, it's, depending on where you live, you can't always access London, which is where all the big shows are.
Could you imagine if we lived in London? We'd be there every other weekend.
I know,
we'd also be poor. Yeah, exactly.
We'd be broke. But
I don't care for a musical.
Funny
I'd be eating out of a tin of beans.
That's interesting. I was speaking to somebody today who had never heard about going. I had told them a couple of weeks ago about going to Leicester Square and going to the ticket booth.
Yeah.
Just if you want to go and see a musical, but you're not that fussy.
Yeah.
And the only one they could get decent enough pricing for was Lion King.
Yeah.
Now I know Lion King still holds
It's
value.
normally the most extortionate.
Yeah. But that was the only one. They said everything else, but they said they still paid a couple of £100.
But this is the thing, and even I think it's got to the stage of, all of those apps that now also have the daily deals for tickets.
Yeah.
Even those apps, the deals are still extortionate.
Yeah.
It just seems to be the prices are going up and up and up and up, and nobody can, no normal average person can afford to go to the theatre anymore. It's really frustrating.
It is.
I don't understand why. Surely the price of putting a musical on will have increased. I understand that with inflation and today's climate. But how are they helping themselves by them putting the tickets up so much
that people can't afford to fill the houses, which means that people are paying?
I suppose they will always have tourists, won't they? Rich tourists that will be willing to go to the theatre, but
I suppose as a producer, you're probably not only producing one, you're producing, maybe a couple on. You would rather that they were going to see a few of your shows rather than just one.
And then you wonder if the run of these shows is all going to become so limited. Do you know what I mean? Because they can't afford to, the show to be up and running for long extended periods.
Yeah,
if
because
people
this
aren't
is-
then able to come because of their ticket prices.
Well, this is what we were talking about last week, wasn't it? About the concerts. They're becoming more popular. Do you see there's
since we talked, there's about five more that have been announced. It's
there's a gypsy one.
Yeah.
Just loads.
There's loads. We'll maybe look at them again.
There's loads. And then, did you see what was announced this week? Which is quite fitting with what musical we're going to be talking about.
What would that be?
So, we mentioned before about Sunset Boulevard by the lovely and very talented Jamie Lloyd.
Yeah.
Jamie Lloyd is bringing Romeo and Juliet for a 12-week run with Tom Holland.
Yeah, it'll be class.
So he's coming back to the West End. For those that maybe don't know, Tom Holland started off in Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand Tom Holland is a...
Spider-Man.
Yeah, and he's a big Hollywood star. So maybe 12 weeks is all he could have.
Yeah, but I think I remember seeing an interview where he had expressed a want to return to theatre.
But it'll be exciting to see what Jamie Lloyd does with Romeo and Juliet after Sunset Boulevard.
But will we be able to afford to go to the theatre to see it?
And I think tickets are released tomorrow, and I don't even want to go on and have a look and see what the price are.
Yeah. Well,
Unfortunately.
You're so good at this game, aren't you?
This linking game.
That was brilliant.
Thanks.
I think that's that's up there with one of the best links in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So, what's our musical this week, Lauren?
And Juliet.
And Juliet.
And Juliet.
Chuck Romeo in the bin.
Yeah.
Who needs him, right?
Who wants them?
So, do you have background? Do you want me to do background?
Have a wee bit and then you fill in.
Love that. I love when you say that.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I sit up for 5 hours.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And then I'm just told, you just fill in. I'm joking.
No,
I am
but
totally joking.
It's because I probably don't do as much, and then I know that you're going to make it better.
You go for it, girl.
So, I literally have like a line. And Juliet is a 2019 coming-of-age jukebox musical, and it features the music of Swedish pop songwriter Max Martin, who I
know him well.
Didn't know anything about him. Didn't know anything about him, but I know so much about him now. Yeah. The book is by David West Reed, but is it Reid?
No, Reid, I would have thought.
Reid, rather than Reid.
Spelt R-E-I-D.
And he is best known for the wonderful sitcom on Netflix, Schitt's Creek.
I didn't know that.
What?
Why did I miss that?
How did you miss that?
I flippin' love
I know you
Schitt's
do.
Creek.
That's why I thought you were going to be like, I know.
Do you know what? That makes even more sense to me now.
Okay.
Oh, I did not know that link at all. I also didn't know who Max Martin was like.
No.
Okay.
Terrible.
Very good. So good people involved here.
So it focuses on the what if. So what if Juliet didn't die? A bit like West Side Story. We'll not go into that. But it focuses
Never
on...
thought of that either.
Oh my gosh.
My 4 hours were wasted. Right, close the book. Time to go home, Tim.
So what if Juliet didn't die in Romeo and Juliet? And that's why it's called And Juliet. And Timothy actually learned what that wee and.
Yeah, but I've forgotten it now. What's it called, Aaron?
Ampersand.
An ampersand.
An ampersand. I don't know if you have to say it that way.
Ampersand.
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 Yeah.
I'm going to write that down because I will forget.
Because obviously the Romeo and Juliet Shakespeare play is called Romeo and Juliet. If you remove Romeo...
Really?
Shut up. If you remove Romeo, then there's still the and Juliet. So that's why. That's why it's not just called Juliet.
Yeah.
Okay? That ampersand...
Because as Juliet says at the end of the show, that's the way she wants it. I want it that way. That's one of Max Martin's songs, just so you know.
It is. Mm-hmm. Nominated for 9 Tonys.
Yes.
But only has...
Tonys or Olivier's?
Tonys. No?
Olivier Awards.
Oh. No, I think it's Tonys.
Well then they've doubled. they've had the same number of... Can you fact check that? Oh God, she's dying in the corner here. I'm on my own. This is what I've dreamed of. An episode of me on my own.
Have you really?
No. I wouldn't know what I'm doing.
I think I just pulled a muscle.
I think I pulled it yesterday too. Like, I've got a weird pain in the middle of my tummy. Either that or a hernia, but I don't think I've been active enough for a hernia. Anyway, I know for sure at the 2020 Olivier Awards, and Juliet received 9 nominations and they won 3, including Best Actress in a Musical for Miriam Teak Lee in the title role of Juliet, and then they won Best Supporting Actor for our mate, or my mate, David Badella, that we've talked about on the infamous episode about Rocky Horror Show. And then also the Supporting Actress, which was Cassidy Jansen.
Yes.
So they all won Olivier's. Tony Awards, though.
Tony Awards was 9.
Oh, that's weird. They got the same number of nominations.
Yeah. So that says Olivier Awards there, but on your previous search.
Yeah, so that's 2020.
Yeah.
And the previous search was for 2023. 9 Tony Award nominations.
How many shows do that? Get the same number of nominations, both in the Oliviers and in the Tonys?
Yeah.
So sorry, I panicked when you said.
Oh no, it's okay. I knew that I was right, but I just.
Well, you always do, to be fair.
So yes,
They also had the West End production also got 13 nominations at the 2020 What's on Stage Awards, and they won 6 of them.
Yeah, it blows my mind at how much of it.
However, controversial they might come for me.
Okay.
I'm ready for them.
Okay.
I wonder if the nomination count was so high because a lot of other productions were struck by COVID, so there weren't as many productions to pick from the pot, I think, at that time. That might be a very unfair.
No, I think that's very fair for the Oliviers, but then the Tonys, they only went to Broadway.
Yeah, that's true.
So what, in the last year? So yes, I could see that for the Oliviers, but I think it definitely got a bigger reaction in Broadway than it did in the West End. But I think it feels more American,
and I think it's more fitted to American culture, maybe. Yeah. And I also think there were elements of the London production that them were like freshly polished.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but I don't know if it was like just lifted from London and
no, it definitely wasn't.
I think there was workings between then. Do you know what I mean? On the 16th of March 2020, the show was suspended in London because of COVID, but then returned nearly with all of the main original cast on the 24th of September 2021, the day before my birthday. It's also had a nice little run in Toronto.
Yes.
Yeah. It had pre-Broadway engagement at the Princess of Wales Theatre in Toronto, Canada, opening on the 22nd of June, and then it opened in Broadway in August 2021. No. In August 2021, it was announced that Anne Juliet would transfer after the Toronto engagement. It opened in the Stephen Sondheim Theatre on the 17th of November 2022.
And it has recently opened in Australia.
Oh, and
it's doing great.
Production received 9 Tony noms, including Best Musical. Flipsake, I retire, give up. I was in my notes all along. I just can't read.
When were you first introduced to Anne Juliet?
I was really, really fortunate. And I don't know, I think it was just circumstance.
Okay.
I managed to see Anne Juliet in London twice before it came off because of COVID. So I think I might be wrong. Dad and I went over one Christmas. Mm-hmm. And it was the Christmas that we went to see Company with Patti LuPone. On Boxing Night, what a dream.
Lovely.
And then I think at that point it had just opened, and there was very little known about it, and you know what I'm like, I'm a wee bit I get a wee bit itchy when there's new things, especially new musicals, and I don't know much about it, and it got the better of me, and in the end I ended up going out one night to see it on my own. Do you know what I mean? And then came back and ranted and raved about it to Dad. I'm almost sure that was the first time I saw it. And then a month later, maybe, we went, my friends, we went to London the February.
Okay, so just before.
Like, literally just before. And that was one of the musicals we chose to go and see.
I knew you'd seen it a couple of times.
Yeah.
And you definitely knew about it before.
Yeah.
I knew about it. I had obviously heard it coming on the West End. And I knew that it was a jukebox musical. So I kind of switched off a little bit.
Correct.
Because I didn't know that it was Max Martin. Not that I knew who Max Martin was, but I'll explain that as we go on. I thought it was originally like just all Britney Spears music, and my sister would have been more of a Britney Spears fan than I am. I like a couple of her music, so I was like, I love Shakespeare. I wouldn't say that Romeo and Juliet's one of my favourites, but I definitely admire It Is a Tragedy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the greatest love story ever written. No. But, so I kind of turned off a bit for it. But what I did think it was, remember we went to, like, youth drama whenever we were younger? Before I was in a production called Olive, the year before me, they did Before Juliet.
Okay.
So I would have been involved in that a little bit. It wasn't involved in the final production, but then we would have used a couple of those for auditions and stuff. I thought it was a musical version of Before Juliet.
Oh, right,
which is about Rosalind, who Romeo is in love with at the beginning of the play.
Yeah.
So I kind of switched off thinking I already knew what it was. And then have since obviously discovered that it was nothing to do with that. So it just shows you what you know, if you don't actually research anything, then you can completely go, no, I'm not into that.
And like, I probably give jukebox musicals a bit of a hard time in that I will never not go and see a jukebox musical. But I also there's so many of them out there that are good. But they are what they are. They are a jukebox musical where they've taken popular songs and they've somehow written a story around it. And some do better to link the story nice and closely. Others, literally, it is like, let's shoehorn another hit song in here. Do you know what I mean? And that's fine, because I think we're not snobbery. We're not snobs.
No.
So if you're going to see a jukebox musical, that's what you should expect to see, I think. However, this, in my opinion, this jukebox musical was a jukebox musical on a different level, because actually far cleverer than you would ever give it credit for. It's only actually when you sit down and read into it and look a wee bit closer at it, you go, oh wow, right, okay, actually this was a really clever piece of theatre. This was really clever writing of a musical. And we'll maybe probably get onto that a bit more when we start talking about our musical lyrical lingos. But I knew automatically I loved it, and I liked it more than I ever thought I would, and more than I ever thought I would for a jukebox musical. But then when I sat down to actually read up on it a wee bit more, I went, oh, very clever.
Yes.
Who is it? Mr. Reed, David West Reed. Very clever. Very clever what he did.
And also,
the director as well.
Because this is music that if you're around our age, you will have grown up with. It's really popular music.
Yeah.
So it ranges from Kelly Clarkson music, as in, we know it's Max Martin, he wrote them, but Kelly Clarkson, Katy Perry, Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, Celine Dion, Jessie J. There's so many. So you will know them. And you will know these songs. It's a little bit hard to go, how do they fit into a show about Romeo and Juliet?
On paper, it just sounded like it was going to be absolute another tat.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then you go in and you understand. But I think you also need to see it. Yeah,
you do. I think so. You listen to the cast recordings, and there's two. There is the West End one and then the Broadway one. And it just sounds like a compilation CD. Do you know what I mean? With I just love theatrical voices singing
pop songs.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It brings a different.
Yeah.
You know, it just sounds different. And when you like musical theatre, you like theatrical voices. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but it's just a brilliant compilation CD until you've seen it and you get the context and you go, oh, you very clever people. Yeah. Well, we go on to our musical lyrical lingos then.
So, I don't have a huge amount, so I'm going to go with my main one.
Yeah.
Which is in the song, Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely. What is the title of that song?
Show me the meaning of being lonely. Tell me why I can't be there where you are. There's something
missing in my life. Oh, yeah, lovely. We're
This could be a singing episode.
It could.
Obviously for one, because you don't have a voice.
I know.
Today.
Or ever.
No.
Okay.
No, I put in today because I was expecting you to go, what are you talking about? I don't have a one. Like, shut up, Laura.
Okay, it mentions in that crimson love, it says, it's hard to see in a crimson love. Mm-hmm. It's like, what is a crimson love?
A red love.
Okay, it actually signifies the celestial love of good. And crimson is the official colour of love, not just red.
It?
Yeah, crimson. So there you go.
That's really cute.
Isn't it cute?
Because in messages that I get, it's always a darker red heart.
Oh, don't!
And no, but seriously, and I went, oh, there's like different shades of, like on the emojis, like I always just go for the heart, but like I get it like dark red heart, and maybe that's not what's meant, but that is what I'm now taking from those messages.
Oh my heart, Aaron, do you hear this?
Do you send her crimson red hearts up on your text messages? No, you don't text her.
No.
Did I just take your punchline, Aaron? I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I'm just so funny. I can't
It was
tell
my moment to shine, and you're just kidding.
Your moment to shine was last weekend with that camel, and you let that moment pass you by. Very good. Oh, crimson red is...
Yeah. Signifies the celestial love of God, a colour of love. Now, crimson is the colour of love.
Very good.
A little, just a thing I learned.
Yeah.
Which I'll fit into Musical Lyrical Lingo. So the song, I Kissed a Girl.
And I liked it.
Okay.
The taste of her cherry chopstick. I kissed a girl just
I
to
kissed
try
a boy.
it.
And it was going to be a pitter-patter. It's meant to sound like the pitter-patter of a heart and how you fall in love.
Oh, okay.
That's sort of the cadence. And what they were going to do within Juliet, they were going to make that a tap number to the iambic pentameter, which is how you read Shakespeare.
Oh, you see, this is what I mean. Like, so many levels were thought about.
Yes.
And when they put this together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so clever.
Yeah.
Well, I learnt a bit like you about the music of Max Martin. I didn't really know anything about it. And I read something very interesting that David West, Reed, the writer of the show, he had said he described William Shakespeare as a rock star of his time. And that's right.
Yeah.
Like, back then, like, he was, like, so popular.
Yeah.
Shakespeare's work reflects the popular culture and beliefs in the time in which his plays were written.
Yep.
But the universal themes that the plays present are still relevant today. Hence, they're still happening in schools, and they're still constantly donning the boards, around the world. And it's rare to find anyone who doesn't know at least one story made by famous
Even if you
Shakespeare.
don't think you know a story, you will also use Shakespeare's language in every day.
That's it.
Where you don't realise. And I got the wonderful Judi Dench's Shakespeare book for Christmas.
I got that for my dad, signed by Judi Dench.
Oh, go you. Well, I read it. It is fantastic.
good?
It's so good.
I'm waiting for Dad to finish.
Oh, you
and
can
then
take mine. I'm finished.
I want the signed copy.
Oh. Does it make a difference?
Yeah, because Judi Dench has actually touched the book.
Okay. Fine.
But then he said, in modern day, many people consider Max Martin's music to be the soundtrack of their own life, which is what you kind of said, representing key moments and memories of the times that are important to them. And he's written a wide range of songs for a huge number of artists and groups. Each of those artists have their own individual sound.
Yeah.
So, like what David West Reed was saying was, like Shakespeare, Martin's music is a versatile and constantly evolving way of expressing key emotions, issues and themes.
100%. Because it's only whenever you're listening to Juliet, Broadway or West End, this was what I felt, I see how these songs are connected to Max Martin. And they sounded a lot more Swedish.
Okay.
To me.
When you know he's Swedish.
Yeah. But also, I think because they were sung not by that original artist that you associate it with.
Has their own voice as well.
Yes. So then it started to make more sense that why these songs were chosen, and how they fit in so well to the story.
Yeah.
And I think what Reed had said as well, he has such a back catalogue that he could have just shoved 20 songs in there, 20 more songs in there. And it wasn't so much that he needed to be careful or mindful of Max. He just knew that no matter what song he chose, it was going to tell a really powerful story in connection to his and Juliet story.
And the other thing I thought was quite interesting was that many of the songs have been chart hits for strong female artists, strong female role models, which is also significant as in And Juliet, Juliet begins to explore her own potential.
Yep.
And kind of like steps away and kind of goes, I don't actually need Romeo to be, significant or strong. And I thought, that's so clever. So even in the songs that they picked, it kind of had that strong, female vibe.
Yeah.
For a strong female lead in the play and the show.
But that all comes from that original strong female that you're first introduced to, Anne Hathaway, which is Shakespeare's wife.
And did you know much about her? Because I didn't really know much about her either. That was another one of my musical lyrical lingos.
No, just that I knew that was his wife. She's obviously stayed at home whenever he went off to London. And I always love to say make his fortune, a bit like Dick Whittington, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
So in the musical, what happens is Shakespeare has just written his next play and invites Anne to come and see it, and she then kind of calls him out a wee bit on it and goes, but hold on a wee minute, why does in this case Juliet have to die? Mm-hmm. So it was kind of her idea in the first place, and then she goes about helping with a bit of pushback from Shakespeare. She goes about trying to help rewrite the story for Juliet, to the point she even writes herself into it as another character. So that
April,
that's kind of how Anne Hathaway comes to play her role is pivotal in the show. Anne Hathaway's character is particularly interesting, and so little's known about her as a historical figure. Even less than Shakespeare himself, to be fair, because there's not a huge amount known about him other than his plays. Do you know what I mean? And it's interesting in this show to kind of explore the woman behind the man.
Yeah.
She was 26 when she married Shakespeare.
I know, she was a lot older.
And she was already 3 months pregnant. Did you know that?
Yes.
See, I didn't know any of this. So it was a rushed marriage. And in And Juliet, she just creates a new Juliet for us.
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to her.
But also, I think you sometimes associate Anne Hathaway with sadness because her husband, leaves her with the children. Yeah. But there's a lot of sadness with the two of them because they had twins and one of them died. Yeah. And that's why Shakespeare writes an awful lot of his plays either have twins or there's some sort of conflict or torment there. Yeah. And death is a massive, or tragedies are massive. So I always kind of just assumed that she was a sad figure, while this is a really nice way to think of her as a strong you know,
And I love that she
go-getter.
also kind of lives her life vicariously through Juliet.
Yes.
In the play. And even Juliet herself isn't so constrained by period in the musical. Either she's forging her own way and path and becomes fiercely independent, and she develops her own identity and enables her to create her own happy ending.
Yes.
So, you know, they do end up together at the end, but it's her choice and it's her way this time, not, you know, Romeo calling the shots, which I'm like, yeah. So I love at the end, he's like, hold on a minute, why are you calling it Juliet?
Yeah.
Like, should it not be, does she call it Juliet and Romeo or something? It's something like that, and Romeo calls her out on it at the end, and she finishes with, no. Because I want it that way. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the last line.
Yes, but that's also how
Love it.
Shakespeare and Hathaway, they, you know, she says, why don't you, you know, keep Juliet alive? And he goes, no, I want it that way. And then she goes, so they sing that, so it's kind of like a circle. Kind of like goes round.
Bet the Backstreet Boys never thought their hit would be used so much in one musical. What else did you learn?
What else did I learn? Right, well, not so much about any of the lyrics or anything like that. Just about how the show is performed. So that there's a lot of staging and trapdoors, and all of that is used more as a storytelling aspect rather than visual, which I kind of thought was really interesting. And I also then discovered a thing called Talks at Google. Anybody else know about Talks at Google?
Aaron's putting his hand up. Is this AI again?
No. It's
okay.
It's like a TED Talk, but it's Google's own version.
My goodness. So I have been ill. We all know I love a documentary.
I was about to say, this is a bloody
I discovered Talks at Google, where there is a Talks at Google with the cast of Anne Juliet.
Oh, wow.
There is also a Talks at Google with the cast of loads of other musicals.
Oh, wow. Okay, how many hours are we talking here?
Loads. Like, I'm talking...
How many texts am I putting down in the text sheet? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Like 53,000. So... It probably isn't one that you're going to sit down and watch. It's one that if you have a podcast on, put it, you know, as in listen to it in your ears and maybe do a bit of housework. But they were so interesting because there's a little bit of the actors come out and do a song. The either the director's there. In this case, it was the choreographer.
Oh, nice.
So it was, oh my goodness, it's great. I can't even just talk about it anymore because I need you to just go and listen to it.
I just wrote it down. Talks at Google, so I'll give it a wee listen. It is a shame it's not like a podcast though.
No, it's on YouTube.
Although it would like rival our podcast, but once I finish listening to ours, I need a podcast to listen to.
Okay.
They would be good to listen to.
We'll just put it on to YouTube and then just listen to it that way.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Loads of people that you will recognise. Look, I know that our lovely listeners can't see, but there's it there. And it was only done 3 months ago, so it's the cast and the creatives.
Very
if you go
good.
up, just down.
Yeah, I did see
there.
it. Yeah.
You know, so absolutely wonderful. So it just taught me something else.
A wee bit more about the
where
process.
Else I can go and look at documentaries and behind the scenes.
I love the message of love and acceptance in the show. You know, the beautiful musical sends a powerful message to accept and love everyone in our lives and celebrate everything each person has to offer.
Yeah.
And I thought that, we're talking about love this episode, and the importance of love and its many facets or faces. Like the original play, Anne Juliet explores various types of love. So you've got the parental love, platonic love, and the romantic love all making an appearance. So whilst Romeo and Juliet's love is romantic, William and Anne's story reminds us that love needs work if it's to survive.
Absolutely.
Because actually you kind of almost, when, Anne appears, you think, oh, this is never going to last. Like, they will break up at some point throughout this show. Like, it's not a healthy relationship. It's not going to last. And I thought, oh, it just reminds you got to work at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's a friendship or whether it's your romantic, you've got to work at that love because you're two individuals, or and you need to accept one another for what you are, but work together to nurture that
teamwork, dream team. And then Lance, who is another character we haven't spoken about yet, Francois' father, and the nurse, so Juliet's nurse. They're able to rekindle love. Whilst the relationship between May, who is one of Juliet's friends, and Francois form another form of love which is potentially forbidden by some characters, in a similar way that Romeo and Juliet's love was forbidden in the original. So again, back to your man Reid. He's just so clever with how he wrote this. The love that forms very quickly between Francois and May shows the strength and unconditional love and its survival in spite of the expectations of others.
And I think that's one of the main themes of Romeo and Juliet, which is lovely that they're able to pull that into new characters. Yeah.
May struggles to be comfortable with their identity. The security and honesty that eventually exists between them and Francois is an optimistic sign.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, that's...
I just think, very clever.
Overall, it's a show about loving yourself to then love others.
Yeah. I loved the close links to the original. There were various structural similarities and devices that David West Reid used that you might recognise. So, for example, May and Francois speak in sonnet form when they first meet, just like Romeo and Juliet. There is a party guest list.
Yes.
And this time, Juliet and her entourage crash the party. There are secret conversations, loyal friends, pushy parents, parties and forbidden loves. There is also a reference to another minor character you've already mentioned.
Oh.
Who did you mention? Your play that you thought this was based on? That you did in your drama?
Oh, Rosaline.
Yeah. So, Rosaline is in and Juliet, who we don't actually ever meet in the original.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool that, Reid kind of put her in. Yeah. So there you go.
No, I think you need, if you haven't listened to the music, go listen to the music and then maybe watch a Toxic Giggle or try and find some, performances. They've done loads of performances on like Strictly or the Tony Awards, loads of other different places, and just kind of get a feel of it. But you will fall in love with it and fall in love with the characters and the story and what they're trying to achieve, I suppose, in a new modern. And that's something that I learned too, that it's okay for things to change. Sometimes people think that Shakespeare should never be adapted or modernised or anything like that. And in some cases it doesn't need to be, because it does translate so well and the themes are so universal. But it's okay. There can always be another ending.
Yeah, that's it.
Which was really nice about this.
Absolutely. Here, your mum would have been proud of me. Oh. I got some costume notes. I know.
Go.
All around the kind of gender issue. So, gender is interesting because in the historical times in Shakespeare's day, men played all the roles.
Of course, women were not allowed on stage.
Exactly. So, including females. So, cross-dressing is nothing new. No. It was happening right back then. Today, it's much more interesting to be able to talk about sexual fluidity. So, the costume choices in Anne Juliet are really interesting. They explore that kind of sexual fluidity. So, they're not reflective of male or female. So, you've got male costumes that have corsets on, like
Love it.
It all kind of just is a mix match, fluid across the board, so a male or a female could wear any of those chorus costumes. Like, I thought that was really clever.
Yeah.
Like, so clever.
Yeah.
And
again,
costume design.
Probably going back to what it was maybe like.
Well, that's it. I think they based that on the fact that back in the day, the men were dressing up as the women. I had a few lyrical ones.
Uh-huh.
So in Blow, it's time to blow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, which is when Juliet gate crashes the party.
Oh, okay.
She sings, drink that Kool-Aid, follow my lead. Kool-Aid, Kaoolaid.
Yep.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
You're so much cooler than me.
Well, it's, Americans don't have cordial, as we call it.
Oh. Are you sure that's what it means?
Yeah, but they don't have, like, squash, cordial, dilute juice, whatever it is you call it. They have, like, a packet.
Oh,
and you've got to make it up.
So it's a
Kool-Aid,
product?
yeah.
It's not referring to accepting an idea or changing a preference due to popularity, peer pressure, or persuasion?
Oh, maybe it is.
I was like, oh gosh, I've got it wrong somehow.
No.
I think it's reference to a cult where you drank the Kool-Aid and the Kool-Aid was poisoned, and it was how they were brainwashed into drinking it.
Dear God.
So there you go.
I think that's what it's a reference to.
So it's not that that Juliet's like peer pressuring the others to come into the party, gate crashing party.
Well, maybe she is by spiking the Kool-Aid.
Okay.
But the Kool-Aid's like cordial.
Yeah, so it was drink the Kool-Aid and die for the cause. The phrase originates from the events in Jonestown on November 18th, 1978, which over 900 members of the People's Temple movement died.
Oh, we've gone deep and dark. Dear God, right, okay.
Well, you learned something.
Well, I can't dance to that song anymore if that's what it's about. Drink that Kool-Aid, follow my lead.
Yeah, that's definitely what it's about.
Okay. In one of my favourite numbers, it's kind of a mix match. It's called Problem / I can feel my face when I'm with you.
Ooh.
I didn't, and I never actually really understood when I heard the Max Martin song on the radio either, about that I can't feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it. It alludes to both the numbing effect of drugs and the constant smiling when seeing your lover. So I'm going to go with the second part of that description.
I was going to say.
I'm not so sure that they were taking drugs in Aunt Juliet. Maybe we were.
Well, they're taking drugs in Romeo and Juliet.
I know, but they didn't in Anne Juliet. If they did, they were very subtle about it. I didn't see any drug taken or any drug paraphernalia.
Okay. Okay.
You would have reported this shirt if you did.
Host, excuse me, front of house. Do you know they're taking drugs in that stage?
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
And then in Roar, Katy Perry's classic, I think that's my favourite Katy Perry song. She sings...
Aaron does a good dance to that
I've got
song.
the eye of the tiger, fighter. And I just wanted to know what that whole Eye of the Tiger was all about.
Okay, go for it.
Go for it, you tell me.
No, go for it.
It's probably some drug taken which comes in the shape of a tiger's eye. Metaphorical mindset of intense focus, determination. Now, I kind of knew what that was, but like, when you kind of like just go, oh, tiger, like tigers are scary, like...
But is there not another song called Eye of the Tiger?
Yes, it's actually called Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
It's the Eye of the Tiger. But Max Martin will be really annoyed because it's not one of his hits.
Okay. The Thrill of the Night.
Thrill of the Fight.
Thrill of the Fight.
Readiness to face a challenge or overcome adversity. Hence, that song in this musical, perfect choice, because that is what Juliet is about to do. Overcome a challenge and adversity, especially at the end of Act 1, when who decides to return?
Romeo!
Yes, that's right. Francois plays an instrument in Anne Juliet. Do you remember what instrument he plays?
No.
The virginal.
Oh, what is a virginal?
I know. I didn't know that either.
What happens the second time he plays it? What's it called?
Well, by the end of this, easy, Tiger. By the end of the show, he says to all that he no longer plays the virginal when he's when he's coupled up, which I thought was boom boom, quite clever. And to be fair, when I did Google it, it said like a virgin. It sounds like a gentle and undisturbed voice. I might have been looking up the wrong. Wrong web. I don't know. Hey, the Oxford English Dictionary records its first mention in English in 1530. Oh. When King Henry VIII, we all know what he was like, purchased 5 of the instruments. One was never enough for Henry, was it now? Virginal is a square form of the instrument where the strings run horizontally.
Yes.
Whereas a harpsichord is the grand form of the instrument where the strings would run vertically, front and back. So think of like keyboard instrument.
Yeah, but with strings.
Yeah.
So it's horizontal, is it?
Yeah, so it's like...
You just did that very goodly.
Lauren is...
Goodly?
Goodly, wow. Listen, gee whiz. Use and now goodly, I can't cope.
You need to find a musical with vocabulary in it, you know, that you come away.
I mean, this podcast is based on vocabulary, you know. What Lauren was referencing to was I was using my hands to gesture the horizontal keyboard form of the virginal. Popular in Europe during the Renaissance and early Baroque period, and I'm right back to GCSE music.
Oh, yes.
There we go.
That's good. I was also introduced to Betsy Wolfe.
Betsy Wolfe.
Because she is currently playing Anne Hathaway
in Broadway.
And she is wonderful. So she was in Waitress, your fave.
I was about to say, I first came across her when she did a wee stint in Waitress.
Okay. Oh, yes. Speaking of Waitress, there is 4 episodes, or about 20 minutes each. It's a podcast. It's called Anne Juliet Podcast. It's got...
Juliet Podcast?
Yeah, it's got... Reid is on it, and then your mate is on it with Max Martin.
Who's my mate? Marish?
Sarah Bareilles.
Oh, nice.
And they're talking about it because it was actually Max Martin's wife who had thought of the idea that his song should become a musical.
That's cool.
Years and years ago. So,
see, good woman behind the man. There we go again.
So Betsy Wolfe, she was in Waitress. She was also in the last 5 years, Falsetto, and you would have seen her. And I'm just giving you this piece of information right now. In Ragtime in 2005.
Wowzer, she must have been young.
She must have been, yeah. So,
do you know who else I think I saw in Ragtime back in the day?
Hey.
Oh no, that's her thingy name. That's her Glee name. It's going to come to me.
Rachel Berry, but it's not Rachel Berry.
What is her name? She's just done Funny Girl. Michelle.
Leah Michelle.
Leah Michelle. I think because there was a wee young girl.
Okay.
Immigrant girl, like with her father, and she played in the original Broadway cast. So I think I saw her before she then.
Well, that's what I was thinking. She was in Ragtime in 2005, so I think that because it wasn't on for very long.
Yeah.
And you seen it in New York, didn't you? And she was also in the lab production of Frozen. Betsy Wolfe.
Lab production, of course.
Lab production.
I wonder what happened to her that she didn't make it onto the full.
No, but she is great.
Yeah, she is good.
She's very good. So I was pleasantly surprised
Betsy
to learn
Wolfe.
more about her. Right, before we move on, who do you think...
You've got very serious there. Am I going to get questions?
No, I just thought I wanted to ask you because obviously Anne Juliet is about love. A little quiz. Not a quiz.
God.
Who do you think are the best love couples in musical theatre?
Oh, you needed to have given me this at the beginning of the week so I could have thought about it.
No, I wanted to give it to you.
That's a hard one because it's quite funny when we were talking about what we do for our Valentine's episode. We were like, what musical do we do? And there's like so many because literally every musical has love. It was actually your daughter who came up with this idea. So when I collected her today, I had Anne Juliet on.
Aww.
And I said, what musical is this from? She was like, don't know. And I went, hello, we're doing today's episode because of you. It's Anne Juliet. And she goes, oh, I've only listened to the first 3 songs. Like, flip 6, CJ. Anyway, best musical love couple.
Yes.
She was.
I'm going to say one of my first ones. Sky Masterson and Sarah Brown.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not what you would expect. Like, you don't expect them to fall in love.
So let's think of that sort of...
Okay.
Because and Juliet, it's not quite what you expect.
I like, actually, talking about Waitress, I like Jenna and Dr. Pomander, because you don't think that would ever happen.
Yeah.
And he comes along when she needs somebody to really love and care for her.
Yeah. But it doesn't quite work out.
It doesn't, because it's not love. Like, that's me being daft. But I do love Angel.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to say it.
Just because it makes me cry every time.
Perfect. And also it fits in with that. Fits in with this sort of thing.
I just wish I had a deep voice that I could play a Collins. Live in my house. I'll be your shelter. Sound like you with a go. Anyway.
What about Jack
Do you know what's a beautiful love partnership? And it's a wee bit Aaron and Lauren.
Oh, thank you.
I only did that because... Yeah.
Because we're in the room with you?
Yeah. In the room where it happened. No, nothing happened in the room. What was I going to say?
You do love.
Phantom and Christine. I know it's an oldie. I know he is creepy, but like, he loves her.
I know he does.
And I think she secretly loves him too. Well, look at Love Never Dies, Phantom 2. She clearly did love him.
She did love him.
Because she went back there.
Stockholm Syndrome.
Dirty bit.
Ooh.
Okay, moving on.
I like Jack Kelly and Catherine Plummer.
Okay, from Newsies.
Yeah.
I wish you'd told me that you were going to ask this question. I could have.
What about Lincoln Tracy?
No.
Okay.
Superficial nonsense.
Okay. What about High School Musical?
No, superficial nonsense. Gotta have a bit of depth here, people.
Do you know what? Have a think about it. And we'll move on to our standing ovations.
Between now and the next episode.
Yeah, because...
we have so much time to think about it, Lauren.
Well, I think we'll be able to link into our next episode.
Oh, really? Link in. Who is yours, Aaron?
Tracky Monster and his internet connection.
Very good. Very good.
Very good. What were your standing... Here, I think, did we forget to do stand ovations? Maybe not in the last... Did we do it for Singing in the Rain? I don't think we did it the episode before that. What was our episode before that?
I can't remember.
I know, listen, the days turn into
Colour Purple. No, we didn't.
We didn't, did we?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, your stand ovations for Anne Juliet.
My stand ovations are the scenery.
Okay, cool.
Just because I love how that has been incorporated into the story. And obviously we all know that the balcony scene is so famous in Romeo and Juliet, and then they use all of the levels and layers and all of that. So that's my stand now.
Very good.
Yours?
Mine is my biggest one is restoring my faith in jukebox musicals.
Okay.
Because of this clever musical. Yeah. There's something about the problem / can't feel my face number.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just really coolly staged. The two songs like go together really well. Like Juliet singing her bit, Romeo singing his bit, all at the same time. Loads is going on. There's like a revolve on the stage. It's very cool, and I'm like, yeah, I love this bit. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I suppose I should have also said the way April, but Anne Hathaway sings. Yeah. That's the way it is.
You like that bit too?
I like that bit because I like her. Does she opt down or opt up or something at the end? It's not quite Celine Dion, which makes it.
But Cassidy Johnson is.
It looks lovely.
And she was insane in this show. Yeah. Insane. Like, controversial. Miriam Teak Lee, who played Juliet, won the Olivier. Cassidy won hers as well, didn't she?
I'm not sure.
She did. But, like, Cassidy bought and sold.
Yeah.
Miriam, I thought it was almost like she sounded a bit flat.
Oh,
at
okay.
times, but I think that's the way she might sing.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay. Well, okay.
But listen, who am I? They handed her an Olivier.
And how many have
Shut
they
your
handed
face, Tim. I know, yeah, I know. Still haven't got my knighthood either, but anyway.
Oh, well, nearly.
Close. Do you think this podcast will give me?
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this
I know,
one.
and I was kind of a bit worried that we wouldn't have a huge amount to talk about because, like we said before, it's not just about the lyrics, but it's about what the show has taught us. But no, I felt like we were able to.
Loads. I'm also excited about next week's.
Yes. So could that possibly be another love couple?
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
I think we've planned ourselves quite well to
We
kind of
have.
have a lovey-dovey back-to-back episodes.
And we didn't mean to do that, but we just did
I
because
think
we're
we
so.
did we not?
No,
Okay.
we're just so clever.
Yeah,
Ish.
at times.
We're not going to tell you what it is.
No, because let's be honest, the structure of these podcasts, the ending is now just gone out the window.
Well, do you know what? If you think you can do better, you come up with what
I
the
just know I
ending needs
teach
to be.
my kids in school good beginning, middle, ending.
Well,
I
then,
think we do the beginning and the middle really well, and the ending has gone to pot because, for goodness sake, we couldn't even sign off together last week. Anyway, that's the way it is.
Is it?
See, Robert, honestly.
Well, I can't really sing.
Aaron, do you want to sign us out this week?
No.
I got so excited there. That was your big moment. Here, you sit your hat on backwards.
I'm going for the boy band.
Very good.
Yeah, I know.
I knew.
90s boy band, and
knew.
I thought I'm turning this cap the other way around.
I was like, he's turned Backstreet Boys in the middle of this episode.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Pretty sure it was Britney, not Backstreet.
Oh.
Yeah.
And on that, folks, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.